Yeah, and for today's session, I'm focusing quite a lot on the body. We'll do a little bit on the opening of the chest, shoulders, etc., and neck just for standard. But I really wanted to get into a bit more into the thighs in different angles. So I hope you're ready. I hope you're ready. Let me pop you guys on mute, and as always, feel free to unmute yourself if you want to check anything or just want to chat to me, etc. Lovely. Okie dokie. Let me know if you've got any input. Private chat to me so I can tweak any exercises accordingly. And let me just pop my phone on mute. Oh, it was already on mute. There we go. Turns out I have rarely have it off mute. For the session, I just want you to kind of think about your body and how you're positioning it. So it's just kind of recognizing where you hold your body makes every still. So do you naturally have the shoulders rolled forward, or do you naturally pull them back slightly? And then really thinking about where your pelvis is. Do you naturally sit with the pelvis tilted out, or do you naturally tilt it under a little bit more? And just kind of being a little bit more aware of kind of how you're holding your body, how your shoulders hang, whether they hang inwards, whether they lift up slightly, and how that kind of shifts everything. And there's no right or wrong. Obviously, we want our spine to be in the most alignment, so in that sense, but it's more of just an observation. So no judgment is how I feel, is how I want you to kind of approach it. Just checking in how your body stands, and just look at how you've naturally settled your feet. So have you done them shoulder width apart? Have you brought your feet together? Have you brought them in line with your hips? Are they turned out slightly? Are they turned in slightly? Are they big? It's just kind of just observing it. So again, with no judgment, just recognizing how you would naturally stand in relation to movement. And what I want to do here is then trying to distort and change our how we're holding our body. So I kind of lift yourself up, so you're starting to let them start, and kind of lifting up through your head. As you do this, I want you to slightly tilt your pelvis under, and I want you to really feel like you're starting to switch pelvic floors. And if it's tilted slightly, if we our pelvis slightly under anyway, it will automatically start to engage your pelvic floors a little bit more, just as a way that it helps your pelvic floors start to engage, moving myself a little bit tighter. And I want you to really kind of like draw up through your body. So really lengthening your spine, pelvis is tilting under, squeezing the pelvis floor, like pulling you up through your body. And I really want you to start to feel like you're squeezing with your thighs, to lift you up even more. And moving on to your chest, I want you to open up the chest, bring your shoulders gently back down, just opening up and just holding it here. So we're kind of like, it doesn't feel quite as relaxed. We're perhaps holding ourselves in that position, but just really like lifting ourselves up. Let's start to feel like you rise up through the tippy toes a little bit. That's how I want you to kind of feel just as we begin. And just taking a couple of breaths here. And even though I'm holding it, lovely. One more breath here. Fabulous. Good. Bringing your feet together, and we're just going to lift up one ankle, pop it down, and then lift up the other. Lift up one, down, lift up the other. We're going to do it in one at the same time. So lifting up and over, and kind of like raising yourself up as you go. Little bounces up and down. And now what you try is see if you can just move your feet, keeping your hips where they are. So instead of it being a bounce, we're just moving the lower part of your body. Lovely. Back to bouncing up and over. And lifting up through the whole body. Lovely. Just getting a little bit more movement in the toes, a little bit of legs. Fabulous. Starting over with one foot. And just keeping your ball of your foot on the floor, just circling it round. Few times one way and a few times the other. And I want you to kind of just listen to your ankle and where you roll it around. So if you feel like you do more times in one direction and less in another, or just have a little play with both, please just kind of listen to your ankle and see what feels like what's the best for you. Lovely. Switching over to the other side, circle round. Just start with a few times in one way. Start small, circle, and switching over. Again, just listening to your body, see what feels like. Actually, I want to go back. No, actually, I want to take it around. That's the first way. Just listening, seeing what your ankle really is, and kind of settle this today. Just kind of listening to the body a little bit. Lovely. Super. Good. And lift yourselves down, keep your feet in line, your ankles, side on one another. So I've got my left foot forward by about 10 centimetres. So my left ankle is 10 centimetres ahead of my right toe to the back, but they are in line with my hips. So if I look straight on, I'm not back, I'm not like hiding my foot behind, facing line. And if you actually bend, you can foot directly down in the middle. And you should start to feel the stretch right at the back ankle. So just here in your soleus, which is just below your calf muscle. And just Feeling that stretch. If you don't feel much of a stretch here, that's absolutely fine. It just might be that that muscle doesn't feel particularly tight, so you don't need to stretch it much. That's absolutely fine. No problem with that. Lovely. Lift yourself up. Take a bigger step forward with your front leg. Pin the back ankle down to the floor. So push it down. Keep it straight. Start bending your front knee. You should feel the stretch coming all down the back of that front leg and into the calf muscle. So you can do whatever with your hands. Pop them on that front knee, pop them on your hips, pop them on your butt, whatever feels comfortable. Breathing through that stretch all the way down the back of the calf. Lovely. I do love calf stretches. It's not my favourite stretch. Lovely. And relax. Switching it over to the other side. I'm going to start with the soleus again. So your feet in the hips, directly down. Oh, it feels really tight here. So just feeling that stretch. You might not be able to make it very far down. You might be able to go deeper than me. It's just wherever it feels for me. Where it starts already tense, and it starts easing that way the more you hold it. And just breathing through any stretching or any sensations that you're feeling. Lovely. One more breath here. Lifting yourself up, taking a slightly bigger step forward, pinning the back ankle down to the floor, so pushing the heel into the floor, and then leaning yourself forward. And again, straight line from the top of your head all the way down to the leg. Getting right in that calf muscle. We did some burpees in yesterday's calf stretching. Lovely. And we're going to take a really gentle hamstring stretch. So I want you to take one foot forward, flex up that front foot, so we're starting to activate the calf here. And you're going to bend yourself forward. So put your hands on your bent knee, so your knees are in line, and you're just going to lean yourself forward. You should start to feel the stretch down the back of the leg. Just starting to reach, I think, like 30% of the maximum stretch, so just easing into it. Lovely. Fabulous. And then let's switch your route to the other side. So other ankle goes forward, flexing up that front foot. Keep your knees out. You want to rest your hands, pop them on your bent knees. Lovely. So that this leg can be completely focused just on the stretch. Fabulous. Just ease into it a bit. Nothing too crazy on the hamstrings just yet. Lovely. Oh, no, step to one side and then kick your foot to your butt. And then we're just starting to feel that bit of a stretch in the front of the leg. So your foot is behind your side. Keep your knees back. So you feel a stretch in the front of the quads. Maybe a little bit in the hip flexors if you're really putting your knees back. And then holding it still. Balancing on one leg, keeping those knees together, and just push your hips forward, grab onto something if you need to balance. I don't know why, but at school we used to always get told to balance, hold on to your ear. It worked for me when I was a whippersnapper, and it still works today. Under, the deeper you'll feel that stretch on the front of your quad. Lovely. And then switch over to the other side. So knees together, lift your foot back, bring it into your butt, and then pushing your hips forward. And again, either holding onto a wall, holding onto the side, holding onto your ear, or if you feel comfortable, just standing up and then hold onto something so that it doesn't detract away from the stretch. Lovely. Oh, this is ideal stretch. My goodness me, is it feeling very, it feels like it needs it. Lovely. Pushing those hips forward. You can't take your knees back behind. Lovely. And then relax. Give them a little shake. Get the blood flowing back in. Lovely. And instead, feet as comfortably further apart. And from here, you're going to push your hips forward, keeping your back in line with your nice and in a straight line. And taking the sides again. I'm taking my hold with me, leaning it forward, starting to feel the stretch maybe a little bit more on the back of the legs, and then over to the other side. And side and forward, and then starting moving it round through a small circle. Keep your head in line. Lovely. And taking it bigger. And taking it bigger. Lovely. And then taking it the other way. Starting with small movements, nice and slowly. Little circle, taking it away. And then as this feels more comfortable, you can take it bigger and bigger. Lovely. Biggest circle yet. Wonderful. And then taking your head back up on top of your shoulders. Bring the shoulders to you, breathing in and pushing down. Exhaling it out, breathing it in, lifting the ears up. And then pushing it down and out. Lovely. Bringing the shoulders round and forwards. And pulling them back. And round and forwards. And then pulling them back. And then we're moving them all together. So bring them up, bring them back, bring them down, round and forwards. Bringing them up, bringing them back, bringing them down, bringing them forwards. As we make sure to inhale, as we down, exhale. Nice big circles. And keep it going. Start off small, and get a bit bigger as you feel more movement and fluidity in your shoulders. Over to our shoulder. I want you to start to feel it stretching out the opposite side of the shoulder. Just feel that starting to hold and starting the tension to release. Lovely. As we want to take it a little bit deeper, we're going to push away with the opposite arm, and that should start to feel a little more. And you take off the hands to the shoulder and just place it on top. Again, you don't need to put any weight on it. Just resting the hand, just to add that little bit extra weight to it. Just do a deep stretch. Lovely. Lifting the hand off. I want you to turn your head in line with your nipple, and then push your hand back on again. And it, sorry, I think and this will just be taking the stretch round slightly into the back of the neck as well. One more breath here. Lovely. Lifting the hand up, switch out to the side, and start with the head over. Keeping them shoulders nice and relaxed, pulling down, and then that ear getting ever so slightly closer towards the shoulders. You're holding it there. Big and stretch. Lovely. And as we take it deeper, we can push that hand down and away, just to feel the stretch deepening in that neck muscle, and then resting the hand on top, just to add that extra bit of weight, just to take the stretch into a slightly deeper stretch. Lovely. One more breath here. And then lifting that hand off. Turn the nose towards the lower, and we just hand back up. Just deeper into the back of the neck. And then taking it back up. Lovely. Just feeling a little bit more movement in the neck. We're going to look directly down into the top of the back of the neck. Those two lovely muscles down the back, just stretching them out. Where we might hold a bit of tension. Just feeling where there's any tense parts. If it feels any tension, maybe just hold it in that place. Wait for the tension to release with the exhalation. Give it a little bit more movement. Lovely. And maybe just for me, myself with your fingers, I like to kind of wrap my fingers underneath my skull. So I'm just kind of just pressing in gently with just feeling that little bit of pressure to release it out. Lovely. I'm just going to go down on all fours. So we're just going to take ourselves down to the mat. All my cushions here. Let me move my cushions out the way. Oh dear, sorry, I'm having a mare with where to put my cushion. Where to put it? Put my cushion underneath it, and it might take it. Okay, so we're going to take ourselves down on all fours. We're just going to do some cat cows, but I want us to do them with breath. So, shoulders, knees are underneath your hips, and as we inhale, we're going to look up to the sky and start to arch our back, taking it into cow. And you exhale, inhaling it up, tilting the pelvis out, and then taking it the other way. As more of these, you will start to feel that you can take it into a deeper stretch. Inhale, starting to push through the shoulders, tilting the pelvis up. Exhale, inhale, shoulders pulling back together. Exhale, pushing through the shoulders. Lovely, and then just holding it high, just for a little moment. And while we're here, just have a little movement of the shoulders, and then pulling it back under. And again, just moving the hips Stretching out the lower back here, stretching out the upper back, rocking backwards and forwards, whatever kind of feels right and feels good to stretch. And we're going to take our position. So moving around in a circle. Maybe you'll feel it more in your hips, maybe you feel it more in your shoulders. Just stretching it out and then change direction and take it as slow or as fast as you want. You can really feel it into where your muscles want that stretch. And you can just hold it in that position if you need it for that little bit longer. Good. And taking yourself back to normal. My hand's falling out whilst doing that. Okay, lovely. So here, and we're going to start focusing on our legs. So what I want us to do is bring our knee in between our hands and slide out of the leg back. So we're taking ourselves into pigeon pose. Now, I said before, this is not my best pose, so I'm not always over getting into it because I get very tight hips and very tight butt cheeks, basically. But what I want you to really focus on is keeping your hips nice and straight and sinking it down. And you might feel this big stretch in your hips, or you might feel more in your glutes. And I'm not going to stretch out their hips, but for me, it's always in my glute. Boy, do I feel a big stretch in my glute. Now, if this stretch really comfortable, your foot further away from you. So if you take your foot out, you'll find it a deeper stretch for you. But you want to be keeping it slightly. I lift myself up too much, so I have to bring my foot closer towards my pelvis to be able to get in this position. But you might feel comfortable. You can take it all the way up to nice wings, but keep those hips wide so you're actually stretching the right place. Lovely. We're just going to hold it here for a moment, lifting ourselves up. Sink into it. And then I want you to walk your hands forward and fold yourself over your front leg. Maybe you can get the forehead down to the floor. Lovely. And I want you to just ease into the position. Through every breath, I want you to feel like your body melting into the floor. Getting deep into stretch each breath. So listen to your breath. Maybe visualize your breath going to that specific area of tension. If you're feeling your hips, maybe feel like your breath is going directly and flooding the area around your hips. Or if you're feeling all your hips like this, you can imagine your breath filling all of the glutes down, all of your butt muscles, healing it, giving it oxygen. I also like to visualize my breath with a colour to help to kind of bring that imagery a bit more to life. A lot of people like to use the colour when it comes to their breath, giving it as a sparkling gold liquid. For me, it's often light blue or a white, so whichever kind of works well for you. I want you to almost imagine like the breath is washing out the area, so like holding on to walls of your body, holding on to muscles, just pushing it all away and washing it all clean. Lovely. One more breath here. And then take your hands underneath your shoulders to gently lift yourself back up and out of that position. Lovely. You're lifting yourself up, taking yourself back onto all fours, and we're going to switch over to the other leg. So taking that knee forward in between your hands and gently pushing the other leg back, opening up the hips slightly here, feeling that stretch. Now for you, it might feel like you can get one leg into the position of the other, that's completely normal. So don't worry, if one leg you're able to get your foot out here, and this time you want it closer to your pelvis, whichever works best for you. I find this one even harder on this side. But yeah, we want to keep your hips square, even if you lift up initially without having to. Maybe you can put a block or a cushion underneath your butt to help keep that square and that resting in that position. Which is here as we deepen that stretch. I hold a few moments before I sink my hips into the floor slightly. And this is with my foot as close to my pelvis as possible. One day I will get there and I'll be able to take my foot slightly further away. But never mind. Just what I'm doing, accepting that's just how my body likes to move. I can do a lot of other things. And as we start to feel more comfortable, and bringing your body over your front leg. And again, you can just rest your forehead down on the floor as you stretch and relax into this position. Lovely. Nice big deep breaths. And again, continuing with that visualization. Imagine the breath is flooding the area that you feel stretch. Maybe it's in your hip. Maybe it's in your butt muscles, all in your glutes. Maybe it's outside your thigh. Just visualize your breath washing through all of that area. And then you can put a colour with your breath. Whatever colour you've decided is the perfect colour today. Imagine that colour just washing through every single part of that body. Pushing all up against the sides. Washing away, kind of, I don't know, it's like goggles. I don't know why, but it's just washing it all away. Breathing, relaxing, melting into the mat or melting into the floor. Beautiful. One more breath. Lovely. And then bringing them hands underneath, or you gently lift you back up. Take yourself back up to all fours, and you're going to take yourself round so that you are on your butt, sitting down, and then bringing the soles of your feet together, and your knees pressing slightly apart. And from here, I'll just naturally, just sitting here, we'll just start to open up the hips. Mine have taken a few moments to sit here, but sometimes they open up easier. It's just listening to my body and feeling when it feels right to push them down a bit more. And when we're here, we just really trying to hold your feet and really open up the chest. So we want to lengthen the back, pushing and pulling on your feet to open up and lengthen the back even more, opening up the chest. Lovely. You might feel that as we into the position, maybe bringing your feet closer towards you. Your knees start to feel that they can sink down a little bit more. Lovely. And you might feel a stretch on your inner thighs, you might feel it in your glutes a little bit, and you might feel it in your hips. You should feel it in your thighs. I always feel it more in my hips, but this is a stretch specifically for the inner thighs. But yeah, I tend to feel it more in my hips for me on this position. And if I lean forward, I'll feel it in my glutes a little bit. Lovely. I do want to focus on the inner thigh. So once you're starting to feel a little bit more comfortable in this position, we're going to take ourselves forwards into our front position. So start on the forwards, and you're just going to take your knees slightly further apart. Now, if this feels uncomfortable on your wrists, maybe take them into a fist position so you're keeping your wrists straight. But if that can feel a bit tender, feel free to take it onto your fists, so it's slightly more supportive for your wrists. And then as you feel comfortable, you can take your knees, inching them further apart. I want you to try and keep your feet in line with your knees, and I want you to keep your hips also in line, so it's a perfect right angle. Lovely. If you're comfortable, you might take down into your elbows on the floor, whichever feels most comfortable for you. And when we're here, what I want you to do is rock your butt forwards and take it back. So just easing backwards and forwards as we stretch into the hips and into our inner calves, taking it backwards and forwards. And if you feel an area where it feels a little bit tenser, maybe just hold it there for a few moments and just let your body, let gravity start to stretch it out. You might melt into it a little more. Lovely. Just breathing. And this is a particularly uncomfortable position for so many people. So it's just giving yourself that time, that space. And again, visualizing the breath will really help here. So really thinking about your breath, flooding that area, flooding the inner thighs, flooding the hips, nourishing it and healing it and helping it as it stretches and melts and releases tension. Lovely, good. And then just rocking those hips backwards and forwards again. See if there's a new space that needs to be, if there's a new spot which feels a little bit more tense, and then letting that relax into position. Lovely. Holding it for a few more breaths here. One more breath. Lovely. And then bringing yourself back up. Gently, gently, remembering the legs back together. Bringing them back to one another. And from here, just take yourself onto your butt. Bring your legs together, just a little together. Wrap your arms around them, give them a little bit of a cuddle, give yourself a little bit of a rock from side to side, letting them just feel close to one another. Looking after your body. Lovely. And then we're done for the day. Relax. I say for the day, for the session. Relax. Really, really good, guys. Fabulous stuff. I hope you enjoyed it. Quite a calm and a nice stretch for your body as well. Let me pop you on unmute.